Hello, everyone. Thank you very much for joining us today. I'm very happy to be here for another presentation inside the Social Media Pulse community. And this particular topic is very near and dear to me because I've had a love-hate relationship with reports as a social media manager for the last 10 years. And so what I'm going to present today for my part of the presentation, because actually this is going to be me and someone else, which is very nice for a change. I'll present sort of my insights of what I've experienced for the last 10 years. And then I'm going to have a special person. And Jacob, I'm going to bring you on now just so you can say hi to everybody. And there you are. Hello, Jacob.
Hi, everybody. Thanks, Phyllis, for
Great.
having me.
Great. So, Jacob, it's going to be interesting for this first part because I'm going to go through my part of the presentation, and I would love to have your impressions on some of the things I talk about during this. So I'm going to keep you up as I'm going through my slides, and please feel free to chime in at any point on any part of the topic, okay?
You got it. You don't have to ask me twice.
I'm glad to hear it. And you can be as controversial as you'd like. I'm totally game with that. So I'm going to see if I can get things organized here. And here we go. So this is titled How to Create Reports That Your Clients Will Love. And this is the first part of the controversial part of it is there are clients who love reports, and there are some clients who don't read them or don't look at them, no matter how much time and effort you put into them. So I'm going to get into all of that, and we'll talk about all of those things. But the nice thing about this is that first you have to figure out what type of client you have. And not all clients are the same. They just aren't. And it doesn't even matter if it's the same industry, like restaurant clients or spa clients or real estate clients. It doesn't matter. They're all very different. And through time, I have found that there are three types, at least three types. The first type is the type that loves spreadsheets. Now, this is a very special type of person that loves spreadsheets, but I do know people who are in love with spreadsheets. They live in them, they work with them. This is their happy place. And you might have a client that is that type of business person. And if that's the type of business person you have, then you're going to have to learn to love spreadsheets so that you can build reports for them. Then there are people who love graphs. They like the little colored bars that show growth, and they really grok graphs, and they prefer seeing graphs. And I have had a few clients in this category because they have the type of ability that they can look at a graph and just get it. They get it right away. Whereas if they look at a spreadsheet, they're like, I can't deal. They just get overwhelmed with the amount of data in there. And then the last one, which is my favorite, is the video people. Like, they don't have time. They're not going to look through any type of report you send to them. But if you make a 1-minute video, just like pointing out certain things inside of some analytic, even if it is a spreadsheet or a graph or just the native analytics inside a thing, if you just like point out the three things that they are tracking in video, they will watch that. And so, Jacob, have you run into these types of people before?
Yeah, and my background comes from helping to start a social media agency. So I've been through a lot of the stages where, hey, we need to get every client, anyone that we can work with. We can work with everyone. And I think a big piece here, Phyllis, you're right. This is a good like mix of the three types. Someone who wants to make all the decisions for themselves, see everything raw. Someone who thinks that they want to see things raw, but would understand it better translated. And then someone who needs it fully translated to them. What is this? What does it mean to me in our business that we've talked about? I think one important thing here, and it depends on where you're at in terms of your agency stage or where you're at in terms of your career with social, but it's aligning yourself with these people too. Hey, I may hate data. I may hate spreadsheets. Like, we may not be a good fit together because I'm not going to be able to deliver what exactly you want. And we just don't align on terms of the strategy. So a big thing in social media when I talk to agencies is trust is the biggest thing. And how do we establish trust with our clients? It can be a bumpy road, but this is a key piece right here, identifying what you can do, who you are, and kind of what they're expecting as well too. This is good,
Yes.
Phyllis. Yeah.
Yes, and a lot of this is determined in those first conversations you have with a potential new client. And you can ask them questions like, do you love spreadsheets? Or you can just ask them straight out how they like to see their reports. I have a client who just literally does not like reports at all. But he likes to know, like, how did this do? Right? How did this one thing do?
Yeah.
And so I'm happy doing reports for him because it's just like a screenshot with an impression from my side. And it's like the easiest reporting ever. And if you get a client like this, just knock on wood that they stay with you because they are the best, right? But I have had clients who want to have deeper reporting. And you can spend, I used to spend, Jacob, hours on reports. Hours.
Yeah.
Because it was all manual back in the day.
Yeah.
And now there are some things, and we're going to talk about that in just a minute, where a lot of it is done automatically now and all of that. But know who your client is. Now, so always try to build a report that the client will actually go through and gain benefit from. If you take away nothing, just take away that, right? And here's the other thing about social media managers in general, and agency owners too, is we generally love the data. It's like we can get into the little bits and pieces of the data and just be like thrilled. But your client probably does not want all of that, and is very overwhelming to a lot of clients. But they do need to see the data that tracks what is important for their business goals. So you need to track ROI. I have a client who only wants traffic because that's where he makes his money, is traffic to his website. So he's like, I don't care how many new people we have on our Facebook group, which is like a freaking a lot, actually. But he just wants to know how many of them clicked over to the website. That's all he's tracking. So you not only do you need to know what type of client you have, but you also need to know what their business goal is, what they need to track, right?
Perfect. I think we like data as social media managers, Phyllis, because we understand what that means. We have actions we can take from that. And I think the best way to build trust is we can translate that for them as best possible. This is the goal. This is the journey you have. Traffic is for you. So this is what we're targeting here. 2 key points. Yeah, I agree.
Yeah. It's really amazing how that happens. So, okay. So once you kind of know your client, all right, you know your client, you know what they're tracking. If you're building it in a spreadsheet, the old school manual way still works. You can build it in Google Spreadsheet. You can do online Excel, whatever. It can be updated monthly, weekly, daily, however you want to manage that, as long as they have access to it and they can check in when they want to. Now, this is something some clients prefer. They just want to know, like right now, how things are going. If that's the case, and you have to put things in daily, you and your client need to have some really good communication of when that data gets in there so that they can see what's going on. I have a client who, like 6:30 in the morning, is like, I'm ready, let's do it. And I'm like, I'm having my first cup of coffee, thank you. Right? So that's sort of an old school way of doing things. Now, if you're building for graphs, and this is really important, you can build graphs inside of Google Charts and Excel charts. And I put some quick links in here for people who want to learn how to do that. It's actually just, you have the data, you're just clicking a button and it builds a graph for you. So you can use those same manual processes to create that. And I don't know if, it depends on your client, of course, but again, you need to be in communication of when that graph is updated. And then if you have that set up, you're good. And then if you're going to do by video, you can use something like Loom or Snagit, or I even had one client where all I really needed to do was take a screenshot of something because they were just tracking one thing. And it was like, and they didn't want to go anywhere to see it. So I would take a screenshot and put it in an email and I was done. So, but if you do the video thing, I mean, Loom and Snagit are super easy, right?
Yeah, yeah. Hey, Phyllis, what do you think about video for all of these types of clients? What I mean by that is
Yeah.
presenting the spreadsheet in a video, presenting the graphs in a video to try and, keep building better relationships. Have you done that for any of these like kind of like nitty-gritty clients? Just sent them a video on it?
What the way I did it is that
Yeah.
if they had a big question,
Yeah.
like then I would go back to the spreadsheet and explain how it worked, right? That's when I would use video. But it's true. You can absolutely, and there is so much you can put inside of a 1 or 2 minute video, right? So much information. So I totally would be cool with that if I were a client and someone made a video so I didn't have, because then I can also speed it up to 2 times speed, you know?
Well, there's that, and I'm a big. It's I think in this industry, and we'll talk about some of the challenges around reporting as well. But
Mhm.
it is that trust. It's who are you? Because at the end of the day, social media is social media. You could find
Right.
anyone to be your hands to post and do all this stuff. But do I have trust to trust you that you're aligned with my marketing and business goals? And video is a great way to just
Yeah.
put that. I mean, we're here right now talking live. Helping to establish some of that. So I
Yes,
love it.
and expertise comes over in video.
Yeah.
Right?
Oh yeah.
So, yeah, and that's the part that might be the thing that supports trust is, oh, that person knows what they're talking about. So,
Exactly.
or at least they
Exactly. That's
sound
it.
like it.
Yeah, yeah. I trust that they know what they think they know what you're talking about. Yeah,
Yeah,
exactly.
exactly. So I'm going to go quickly show you where you can find data for reports natively, and then we're going to talk a little bit about how to find it differently. So Facebook, oh my gosh. Can I just take a moment? Facebook. So, oh, jeez. So this is actually copied straight from Facebook's own help page here. Some quick links to the things that you need to do, but we're going to get into this. So Facebook, if you go to the page, and if you just need like a 28-day quick overview, like that's all you're tracking, it's like nothing. You can go to the page. Now you have to be viewing the page as the page. Otherwise, you will not be able to click this professional dashboard link here. If you're viewing it as an admin, it will be grayed out and you'll go, why can't I? You have to switch the account to the page account. But the professional dashboard just has some very quick, easy to see points, post reach, post engagement, new followers, right? Easy to get, screenshot, whatever you need with that. Now, you notice the next one underneath that, it's only Facebook, right? Now you have insights. So if you are on the page and insights, it's the basic information, just a little bit expanded, but not by much, just sort of like medium size analytics. Now, don't confuse page insights with Meta Business Suite insights because they're different spaces, different everythings.
It's
Right?
okay to
So
confuse it. It's a very confusing name. It's like, what is the business suite I got to go to see other
I
stuff?
know
Yeah,
it's like just nuts. They do try to help you out by putting
yeah.
little banners at the top saying, hey, if you really want analytics, go into your business suite. So, and if you see where it says business suite at the bottom of the thing on the left, if you do click that, you will go into Meta Business Suite. Now, make sure that you use the little drop down up there to make sure you're on the right page because all your pages will be in there. So you might go in there and go, what is these numbers that don't match? And then you'll go, oh, I'm not even on the same page. But if you need all the data you could possibly ever want and more, this is where you're going to find it, is in Business Suites, Insights. Notice the insights there under the thing. This is a very cool space. I've probably utilized about 1/10 of its potential because you can set up goals and you can track results. It feels very Google Analytic-like in what they're trying to do in there. There's some very deep analytics for reach and audience and video. You can export all the data. You can adjust the date range inside here, whereas some of the other places you only get a 28-day view. But the thing about Business Suite data export is you will get more information that you will ever need to know about anything. So when you get that raw export, you are going to have to spend a lot of time making it work for you and your client. Just a little heads up on that. So sometimes that's where the most time is spent in building a report, is just, toning down all the data. So that's Business Suite. Enjoy that one, people. So Facebook is so much fun.
They have
The
a good
other
little
thing,
native platform. They do. Yeah.
yes, the other thing is inside of Meta is that if you have a connected Instagram account with your Facebook page, they will show the information side by side, and you can check a lot of things between those two things. And you can see here there's a humongous difference between the Facebook page followers during this time and the Instagram followers during this time. But that doesn't matter. We're still using Instagram. So anyway, that's a little, and I'm not going to do a complete rundown of Business Suite. That's its own webinar for another time.
Yes. Yes.
Now, a lot of people have professional mode on their personal account on Facebook. And the nice thing about the professional mode is you do get analytics for your personal account, which is, an unusual thing. But it's very light. It's sort of like that page overview analytics. You get to know the reach and the engagement and the new followers and a little bit about each bit of content that you do. And as a social media manager, I would not be able to see my client's personal professional mode account unless I'm logged in as them, which really messes up like the security features for logging into Facebook and all sorts of crazy stuff. So more than likely, if your client is in professional mode, you're going to have to teach them how to find their own analytics. And that's just the way it's going to be.
Stay out of their that's going to more headaches than you want. Teach them.
Oh my gosh. Just yes. The second thing, if you want to pick up two things, and this is the second thing you need to pick up, is that right there.
Yeah.
So again, Instagram, if you want to pick it up in Business Suite, that's the best kind of way to do it. If you want to pick it up on your phone, there's insights on your phone, but you have to screenshot or write down the data, which is like very weird. And there's very little insights that you can use on Instagram natively. Twitter, I've always loved the Twitter monthly summaries that they have right there on site. And if you just need like a quick something for Twitter, it's super easy to find, and it looks a little bit like this. You have that 28-day summary at the top. You have the top tweet, the top mention. You'll see the number of tweets, the impressions, profile visits, all the things. I think it's a nice, easy analytics space. And they have a new analytics space that they're rolling out to certain places. And I've seen it, and it's really nice. But again, natively, as of right now, there's no export feature on this. So that's a little challenging for a lot of social media managers. YouTube, I think, has the most robust analytics. Fact is, YouTube is like layers upon layers upon layers of analytics, and you can get lost in there for a long time. The nice thing is, if you're a manager on their YouTube channel, you can get to all their analytics, and you just switch the account inside of YouTube. It's super easy to do. You really have to know what you're tracking in YouTube to not get lost in the data. Just make sure you're sticking to your client's business goals, right? So for example, my client that only cares about website visits, he's only going to work about that click-through rate. That's all he's about, right? And revenue. He's like into the revenue, so he's okay with that. And the nice thing about that is that it's such a nice, clean interface, YouTube analytics. Do you like, Jacob, do you like analytics over on YouTube?
Everything you said, I agree with. I think the big reason why it's got so much depth is it's a Google solution. It's a Google property.
Good point.
So you're seeing a lot of what Google Analytics is providing you in here, but you can get lost in this, and your clients can get lost in this too, to your point. hey, you only care about traffic and revenue. So let's focus on those numbers. Like if you care about the content and the engagement and the view, let's talk about that. But that's a whole different part of the strategy. So yeah, you
Yes.
can get lost, but it's very robust, YouTube.
Yeah, it's great. And they have this new live count thing that's a lot of fun. If you have a client with a channel that gets a lot of views constantly, it's kind of fun watching that live count, seeing all those people over there. If you have a boring channel like I do, you hit that live and oh, nobody's there. Or there's like one person who was there a half an hour ago, so it's just kind of.
Niche. It's called niche, not boring. So it's niche. You're talking to a very specific, qualified, quality group of people here. So
There
yeah,
you go.
niche.
I like your take on that, Jacob. So LinkedIn, you have to think about this. So a lot of people run their LinkedIn business through their personal account.
Mm-hmm.
And again, signing into someone else's personal account on LinkedIn is a bag of beans you really don't want to get into. On the page is great. I think the best feature on LinkedIn is that post-specific analytics that are right there on the post itself. I personally like that. So it's easier to just kind of see how a particular post is doing. But if you have a creator mode account on LinkedIn, you do have your own dashboard, and I put a link right there so you can just go straight to it. And did I
YouTube. Yeah.
go backwards? So I think I probably, I'll make sure these slides are correct.
This is live recording. Yes.
Yeah, so I must have screenshot it and copied the wrong one to put in there, but I'll fix it. No worries.
LinkedIn's got some good insights for this. It's not as deep as you want. I agree with you on the content side. Like that's super important. That's there. And then your personal profile, please stay away. If someone's asking you to manage their personal, they're not setting you up for failure, but you are setting yourself up for failure because it's very much personal. So you have to coach them. And if they're willing to pay for that service, that's good. But it is a challenge for many, many reasons. But yeah.
Yeah, what I tend to do with my clients who are active on LinkedIn is we post directly to the page because you can do that as an admin, and then teach them how to share the page post to their personal account. It's just really, it's such an easy process and really the best way to do it because then in the personal account sharing, the follow the page button shows up.
That's the best strategy.
Yeah, so there are other platforms we're not going to get into. TikTok has its own sort of analytics. Pinterest has some very interesting analytics if you're tracking Pinterest for a client. And then I had to put in Lemonade because I think it's funny.
You didn't have to. More
it's so funny to me. I'm the only person I know who's over there who is not a paid influencer.
That's interesting. Actually,
it's sort of interesting looking at all the posts that I'm seeing because I'm like, wow, this is so highly curated and,
not to focus too much on this, Phyllis, but right off the bat, are you noticing, like, does organic have any pull in that? Or is it you got to be a paid influencer right off the bat?
I really think it's just being stuffed with influencers right now, but it's very pretty. And so... And the nice thing about it is that most of these people are coming from huge audiences on Instagram and TikTok. And so they are just being paid to kind of build out the foundations of this thing. And so it's interesting to watch it from that sort of view. But the whole point being is that if you have clients on these particular platforms, then it's a little trickier to kind of track analytics, right?
Correct.
So that's what I wanted to say about that. So now I want to reintroduce Jacob and go through this. And the nice thing, Jacob, is I don't know if you can see at the bottom, I have your slides already loaded in here, and we're going to put them up. And I think, I don't know, you might have the ability to click the slides. And if you don't, then you can just tell me.
Okay.
I can be that for you.
Next slide, Phyllis. That'll be our phrase. Okay, perfect.
So let me get this thing up here and let's see if I can. There it is. And now use your left and right arrow buttons and see if they work for you.
Let's see. Let me get my thing connected here. They do not. We may have to use
Okay.
that secret phrase.
Okay. So, or you can do like a hand slide or something.
I don't know. Is that feels rude? Like feels get move the slide.
Magical. All right.
Okay.
So take it away, Jacob.
So we're going to kind of take a step back here. Phyllis' presentation was great to talk about, what do we want to do? How can we present this? How can we pull? I think it's really important to go through a lot of those pieces just to put a ribbon on Phyllis's presentation. One, who are you serving? What are we serving? And two, making sure that we're explaining this as well as possible, and we're driving results, and results are focused on what they want. So we're actually going to talk about that specifically. So stages of social media reporting. So next slide, Phyllis. There we go. So agenda, just real quick. We're going to talk about, what the hell do you mean by reporting stage? Like, what is that? What metrics are important at each stage? I want to focus on that, because if we know what's important, we can help teach our clients, educate them. That's the big thing in social media. We're constantly educating because we're the experts here. We do this every day. And our clients, they understand it, but they have many other things they're worried about. So we're going to talk about what metrics are important, how we can educate the importance of those. And then let's talk about how can we can effectively pull reports. Phyllis mentioned, hey, understand the native tools. We're going to talk about that. But when it comes to your time, that is social media in a nutshell. It's time. That's it. That is the currency we're giving up. So how can we be as efficient as possible if this is something that's going to be recurring? And reports should definitely be recurring. Next slide, Phyllis. There we go. Perfect. Social media maturity. Where are we at? Let's talk about that. So on this next slide, Phyllis, we're going to take an initial big step back, and we're going to talk about the follower journey. So let's think about the follower journey. What I mean by follower journey is we have an audience on social. Maybe they're on different channels. That's our follower. So what's next? What are we as a brand or a business? We're a law firm. We're a not-for-profit. We sell product. What are we? And what's the purpose of social? I always talk about on social, there's what I refer to as, like, I think it's 4 E's now, as I call it. There's education, entertainment, empowerment, and encouragement. So we're either creating videos so people watch and we get views and people like the video we're doing. We're encouraging them. We're empowering them to learn things, or we're motivating them to move and purchase our product. That's a simple transaction there. So what is the purpose of social in our business? What are we doing here? What's the point of all this activity we're creating? Next, we're going to think about what actions do we want to encourage. I just mentioned, do we want people to watch our videos? Do we want people to click and go here and fill out a form, purchase a product? What are those actions that we would want to lead a good follower, a good audience to do, whether that's on social or maybe it's on another digital property? And then I want to focus on this phrase right here, Phyllis, digital transactions. I know we think, oh, I work with a client and they're a not-for-profit. They don't sell anything. They just get, people to sign up for petitions. Well, great. You can measure that digital transaction. You're trying to get people, build good awareness, build them to take the call to action to go to your website, your landing page, and then do some type of digital activity, some type of digital transaction. So before we get into actually where we're at reporting, what we want to do, let's stop. And this is a conversation maybe in that first client meeting is, what are we doing here? Why do you need social media? Everyone's doing it. That's not a good answer. Let's get into that follower journey and let's get into what are we actually doing here and spending our time with. So think about that follower journey. On the next slide, Phyllis.
Before we go to the next slide, I
oh.
just want to make a point about this because this is like really, really important. In those client conversations right at the beginning, you really have to stick with it until you really get to the very actual reason they're doing social, because they will not admit many times in the beginning that they're in it for the click to the purchase, right? Or the click to the sign up, or the click, they'll say, oh, well, we want to show, we have an audience and all that kind of stuff. And it's not true. They're just saying things that they think they should say. You need to stick with it until you get down to the very bottom of why, because what will happen is if you don't get down to that and you can't deliver what they are internally thinking, then there's this big communication gap, and this is the number one reason you lose clients. So absolutely
spot on, Phyllis. Just to put a little bit more on that too, this is key, and this drives everything from here, these conversations, because like I said, we're the experts here. Phyllis, you're an expert, but our clients, they're experts in their business, and they hear social media and they're the big business owner, and they know everything. In reality, they don't. So we have to be very relational, and we have to translate this stuff very relational way. And this transparent, honest conversation is what's going to set you apart from other agencies. Yeah, we'll make you go, you'll get this, you'll get that. Promises are not how to have this conversation. You need to understand what they think they want, and then talk about the actual reality of social media and what that means. And then we can move forward with good trust, good understanding, and then you're not trying to accomplish something that is mission impossible. So,
Yes,
Phyllis,
absolutely. That's great.
perfect.
I'm glad we
Perfect.
had that conversation.
It is. It's really. It was an important slide, and we're going to get into more stuff. But it's a very important piece from an agency perspective, from really any type of social media job that you're going to be doing. So let's talk about. We understand the follower journey. So now let's talk about maturity stage. And I'm sure we could break down maturity stages into more nitty gritty stages as well too. But the three that I like to think of are brand awareness, traffic, and conversions. So first off, you have someone. Phyllis just started a business today. She comes and says, "I want social media." Phyllis, I know that you want sales. Like, I know that. I've talked to so many clients. We just had that conversation, Phyllis. That's what you want. But you're telling, we got to get this. Where you're actually at right now with a new business is we need to build brand awareness. We need to let people know who you are. And we've got to build trust. You have a business. It's a great product, but you make one post. Why the hell should I trust a social media post out there when anyone can create a post? So we've got to build brand awareness. What's the business about? How do we operate? What are the good things? What do we care about? What is this brand about? How do we humanize it and translate that into social media content? So brand awareness stage. Once we're past that brand awareness stage, and that can be from Phyllis, I think when a new business starts, we used to, in the early stages of the agency, we want to, 6 months, start. Really, I think it's like a year and a half till you can really kind of really establish trust. I know it can vary, but what do you
It
think there?
takes time. It takes time because it's harder to be seen in the feed. And so it just takes a lot longer to kind of establish that without some advertising dollars. So, and like organically, right?
I was going to say, if I were to give the ultimate strategy to a starting business, it's have a lot of money to invest right away to get eyes and get through this brand awareness stage as quickly as possible. That's it.
I
And create
agree.
good content. So big budget there, but a lot of businesses that we work with, smaller businesses, they just don't have that, and they don't understand that. So if you can explain it to them, they still don't have the budget. It's a great way to educate our
Yes.
markets and make you be the expert there. Okay. Brand awareness. And now we have good brand awareness. Now, what do we do with this great brand awareness and knowledge of our product or our service or our organization? Well, let's think about traffic. Where do we want to lead them? Is it to a live event? Is it to a digital property? Is it somewhere else? Is it to a group on another social media channel? Where are we taking this good brand awareness? Now we're focused on traffic and where our followers are going. Now, typically we're talking about digital properties, but I also mentioned events. Are we trying to get people to come out and support this event, a rally, some type of physical event? That's a great way to also use social media. And we'll talk about some tracking with that as well too. Phyllis, traffic and conversion, in my experience, typically once you have brand awareness, traffic and conversion happen quickly. Like your client right now, he's focused on traffic, but really he's focused on the traffic and then the conversion as well. Do you see that too? Like, we've got good awareness of us, traffic
Yes.
conversion.
Yeah, and one of the biggest problems sometimes in the social life is that you're providing a tremendous amount of traffic to them, but then it doesn't convert. And this is a big conversation because social media managers are made to feel guilty for this when it's actually the function of their website, right? And it's so important. Like, if you are being paid or judged on conversions as a social media manager, then you need to have direct input, access, and authority to change the website, period. Like, that's it.
100%. I always use this example. We as marketers, whatever you're doing, social, email, whatever, classic traditional print, we are there to get the horse to the water. Now, the horse, our job is not to get the horse to drink the water. Yeah, we want to influence them that this water is good and, taste it. But at the end of the day, it's not our job to get the horse to drink the water. However, that gets mulled up when, social media, I got a digital marketing expert working for me. No. Let's break this up into different services. You have social media, that's the bait, that's the piece. And then we can get into conversions. To your point, Phyllis, I have to be tied into the website. I have to be able to make recommendations because I sent 1,000 people to this landing page and no one converted. What does that tell you? Something
Yes.
is wrong with that water or the messaging there. It doesn't line up with the social media. Maybe we adjust what we
Yes.
say here.
Yes.
Huge point. We're going to talk about that too, Phyllis.
Awesome.
Any other challenges you see from traffic or to conversions as well too in your experience?
Well, this is where we live right here on these
This is
3
it.
points. Honestly, this is where social media and agencies, this is where we live because this is the gear that turns the business
Yes.
right here.
And we can go to the next slide, but my big thing here is I want to help create authority. We are the experts. The challenge in social media, from what I see in my experience, is that there is no one way to do anything. Someone had experienced some way. They hear, I learned from Phyllis I should do it this way, and then you hear from Jacob that you should do it this way. It's like, well, what's right? It's good to hear, it's good to listen, but we need to understand what's right for us. And that comes all the way back to the customer journey and what our customers want and what our expectations are. So we know where we are. Let's come back to our presentation. And we want to figure out, okay, what are we measuring these different stages? So on the next slide, Phil, so I have a nice little breakdown here. We won't go through all of them, but just a high level brand awareness stage. What metrics are important? Page level, content level. Page level is telling you your page is growing. You're getting engagement. You're getting reach. You're getting all this good stuff to get the brand awareness built up. Content level is, in my personal opinion, the most important type of reporting for me. Content is everything. Every time we make a post, every time, even if it doesn't have an image or video, so just a tweet on Twitter, that is content. So what content is driving good brand awareness or positive brand awareness? Content level is great. This video is working well. This video is not working well. This post is working well. At the brand awareness level, we want engagement. We want engagement metrics on that. That's going to help grow that brand awareness and hopefully that page level correlation as well.
And just
Go
on
ahead.
that point real quick is that, a lot of times people will call that page level vanity metrics, but they aren't vanity metrics. They're very important indicators on if a community is interested in what you're providing and all of that. But the content level, this is where the algorithm really comes into play. And now that we have insight into the Twitter algorithm, we can extrapolate a lot of what they are on these other sites too. And those shares and likes and comments and retweets and all those things play more into the algorithm than they do on the page level stuff. So I think it's very important to know those differences.
Yeah, people want to poo-poo these metrics. Oh, it's vanity metrics. That is such a weak statement. Yes, they are vanity metrics. I say that, but they have a purpose. And in this stage, they have a very big purpose as well too.
Yes.
The other big thing is you're not going to know what content works well. You're dealing with individual people. Like, I think Phyllis is going to like this, but maybe Phyllis had a bad day. Maybe Phyllis had a great day and she's reacting to this content in a certain way. Consistency is where this is going to come. So we talked about a year and a half, 2 years. You need to be consistent for a long time, saying the same message to build that trust. So brand awareness, very important. It can be a very frustrating time. But again, if we're educating and understanding what this means and where we're going to, it's a very important time. Web traffic metrics. Web traffic metrics, we have our page level content. We still want to focus on that. We still want to grow that. We don't ever want to not grow that. So the vanity metrics are still important. We're just going to bring in another set of metrics, and that's your website landing page traffic, specifically from a digital perspective. So answer this question. Some people are like, oh, we don't do digital. Does social media drive traffic to it? That's the first question we should be able to answer here. And if it doesn't, great. We know a very important thing. Do not invest more money, more time into social or take back a little bit of your investment. But what you're probably going to find is it is a good source. It is a high converting source. It's a good traffic source. So we're trying to establish, Phyllis here, the brand awareness, the good vibes that we have. Is that cultivating traffic? That's really all we care about. We're not really caring about the quality of traffic yet, and that's where conversions will come. You have that client right now that's focused on traffic right now. Any pain points that you're seeing in terms of providing traffic metrics or just traffic in general?
Well, it's very interesting because you can go over to Google Analytics and you can see the traffic from search, you can see it from email, and you can see it from social, and you can see which social sites are providing the most traffic. And because Facebook is, the big boy in the house, that generally brings in the most traffic. And it's good to know that because there's a tremendous amount of attention on Facebook. So Google Analytics does provide us sort of a guideline around those social things, but it also is very interesting when you find out Pinterest is your second traffic provider, and you're like, well, okay. And then you need a strategy around Pinterest. So a lot of times people can find some of that information in context over on Google Analytics, but there are other ways you can find those things too.
Correct. This, and you bring up a really good point with Google Analytics, because so far, page level, content level, we can do this natively, and there's a native Google Analytics too, so you can pull there as well. But we're gonna have to get into another reporting metric. So this is
Yes.
part of social, but it's measuring our website. So you
Yes.
need some type of backend. Adobe, Google Analytics is typically the standard here, and they've just released Google Analytics 4, which actually makes things a little bit easier because they've got some automatic tracking as well too.
Yeah.
Do you have a preferred backend that you use, Phyllis, for any clients, or that you typically like to read? Google Analytics, you had mentioned.
Um, well, my clients are very diverse, right? And so they need different things. I have one client that I probably have to go into Google Analytics once a month,
Mhm.
to check things. And I built a custom dashboard in there just to check
Good.
things. And the other client has all of their links are tracked, and they're in Agorapulse actually, so they can
Okay.
see all sorts of really cool things. And then I have a couple other clients that are just very small clients, and they just want to know simple metrics that I can find natively.
Okay.
So I have like the whole range from not needing much to like needing everything.
The different stages, the different client types. Yeah,
Yes,
you've got
very
a good mix
different,
there.
very
Yeah.
different business sizes too. And
Yes.
have to say, the ones that are just tracking a couple of little things, they have very small businesses. And the ones that's got the tracking worked out for every link and can check all the things inside of their own dashboard, those are the ones with the biggest businesses. So,
Yeah, I see that correlation happen a lot, and it makes sense. It's like, hey, as a small business, like any business, they want to do everything and they want to do it perfectly. Duh, we want to do things right, but that comes down to budget. And for me,
yes.
if you're going to hire me, that's my time, and I would love to dedicate. This is the frustration I used to get. I want to help. I want to help so much, but if you can educate them and understand where they're at, then we can pick these points, and they may ask for more help too because they trust you there. So it is a challenge
Yeah.
with any client, but for different reasons.
Yes.
Web conversion metrics. Now we're getting into like the real nitty gritty. I mentioned traffic literally is right in conversion because, hey, we're getting good traffic. Now, is that traffic, is that good audience that we have good brand awareness and we're trafficking them down? It's like a funnel. Are they converting well at the end of that road? Are they drinking the water? Because I've sent them a good message. They like that message. The horse walked away. They got to the landing page and they see, welcome to this lake. And they, oh, that is exactly what that post said. Yep, let's keep going. And then they get to the water and they go, this doesn't look right, or it looks right and we drink. That's it. So when we look at website conversions, we're looking at conversion rates. That's a huge piece because this is going to help understand, to Phyllis's point, we need to be very tied into the website. So if I am sending people out from Twitter, our Twitter audience, a lot of traffic, but they're not converting well, that tells us maybe a lot of things. Twitter's audience is being misled. Maybe we're not marketing well on Twitter to lead. The landing page is incorrect, to Phil's point. Maybe the Twitter audience isn't just that right motivational audience to make these actions, where we're getting a better conversion rate on Instagram, but not as much traffic. So maybe we put
Yes.
more money into Instagram. So once you start getting into conversions, there are, I wouldn't say infinite, that's not the right word, but there are many, many angles to look at these things. And we've got to think about yourself. I always like to think about myself. When I look at something on social, I love shoes. Nike will see me looking at their website and they hit me with ads all the time, or a social post I see. It takes me a year to buy things now because I see it, I budget, and then I finally go to it. So conversions are not always direct. It all kind of works itself backwards, but you're going to start seeing things from a lot of different angles and being able to start strategizing a lot more as well. And we're going to talk about that a little bit more. Phyllis,
I have
yeah,
one point on this. As a consumer,
yes,
I find that it's easier for me to purchase something from an ad on Instagram than I would on the same ad on Twitter, right? There's a different vibe and reason for being on those two sites. And one is way more conducive to impulsive purchases. And the other one makes you think more like, I don't know, this is weird. So again, it's the site itself's reputation, not necessarily yours,
correct.
that might make the difference in that conversion. It's very interesting,
It's
actually.
very interesting too, and that's another piece. Like when you're first starting out with someone, oh, we want to be everywhere. It's like, well, first off, like maybe not. Maybe we don't. Twitter's not a good place for you because of this. Because we want some real trust and instant transactions. So that
Yeah.
is a huge, huge piece, Phyllis. Yeah. Okay. So we know what metrics to measure. So how do we measure efficiently? So now we're getting into tools. I think one of the biggest points, and Phyllis mentioned this on her presentation, is understand the native tools. The tools will always be there. At the end of the day, Agorapulse is a great tool. I work for Agorapulse, so I'm definitely a little biased. But at the end of the day, I feel that tools are just tools. They're nothing. So if you don't know how to use the tool, you don't know what the end goal is. This tool is useless. A hammer has never built a home. I know you need many tools, but the hammer is going to help you build a home. But I've got to
Yes.
understand how mortar works, how to build concrete, how to create a foundation, and then build from there. So all this stuff we talk about is really just educating the client. And then first we want to educate ourselves. So what can we pull natively? How easily can we pull it? Shoot, I may not need to invest in a tool. This is very easy for me to pull, and this is all my client wants. Perfect. Keep going through the native tools. They've got what you need. Then we can start looking for areas of efficiency. I've got 60 clients now. I gotta create. Let's automate these reports. You know what they want
Yes.
consistently. You can do this, and then
Oh my gosh.
put it
Can
in
we
play and
just,
let's relax. Yeah, you want to
yeah,
relax?
can we pause for just that moment and give a moment of silence to the social media managers who are manually building reports for 60 clients? No, 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 no.
Pour some of
Don't
my
do it.
tea out.
Can you imagine the amount of time? Because if social media managers care about reports and they want to make sure they're, doing the best job they can, and you reach a point in your client load where you cannot physically do that anymore, you will burn out faster than anything.
Real quick.
So know when you've hit that line, and that's when you look at a tool, because I've seen people, they're just burning themselves out trying to do this. So
So
I just had to stop you on that one point. Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt.
no. This is perfect. It's a very burnoutable industry, and at the end of the day, being in social media, it kind of changes the way you look at things, definitely. But I'm I don't know if I was before or not much before, but I'm very much more a human person, the human element. If we can think about the psychology of all this stuff, and again, educate yourself so we can educate our clients to build trust. And you know what you're talking about. You do this every day. So you're the authority figure. They know their business. Now mesh that relationship together. So yes, when you're ready for a tool, they're out there. There's plenty of tools out there. Now, in terms of pulling reports, there's some reports that you can pull specifically at each stage. So on the next slide, Phyllis, we'll look at kind of some more brand awareness focus. Now, this is Agorapulse. Now you have your page and your content level metrics here, and you can pull them by network if you want to, or you can customize them in what we call at Agorapulse power reports. And that power report feature is where you're going to get the full efficiency. So I have a client that is at the brand awareness stage. They want to see follower growth. They want to see shares and mentions. Cool. That's all they care about. Customize a report. Automate that report to get sent to yourself, export it automatically, or even sent to the client at the end of the day. So
Yes.
you can literally set and forget, as I like to say. But you're setting and you're creating consistency. That is huge in this as well too. Consistent reports, consistent measurements. Your client will get used to this, and you'll be able to just, when things are working well, push them off. And when things aren't working well, that is an opportunity to look in and say, where can we fix things? Where can we understand that? At the brand awareness level, it's a lot of guessing. It's a lot of what content's working well and testing. This content works well, this content works well, and trying to be as consistent as possible once you understand that message. So brand awareness scoring.
I,
Yeah, Phyllis.
I have to tell you, it's actually kind of funny. And you would think in testing, you would be able to figure out what works for an audience. But I have seen over the past several months, especially that you say, oh, that looks like it'll do well. And it like skyrockets. And you'll go, what just happened? And then you'll put one up and you go, oh, this one's going to be great. And it's flat. And it's like, what? I honestly used to think I could like call them, like this one will go, this one won't. I personally can't do that anymore because the audience is fickle. So so you do have to test, absolutely have to test to go in a certain direction, but be open to being surprised.
Yes. Now, why is that audience fickle, Phyllis? What do you think? What do you think?
I have been working on that one for a month now. I don't know. I
Well,
think I just really don't know.
you think of yourself. I mean, we think about today, like we're on a live show right now. There's tons of live shows going on. There's so much content out there to be absorbed. It's I know there's breaking through the noise, but consistency will help you break through the noise. So it's challenging. This is challenging, and it's only getting more challenging for this stuff. But I hear you there. Again, leading to that burnout that we talk about. So keep yourselves mentally healthy here. Now, brand awareness, very basic. The next point we're talking about is traffic. Now, traffic metrics are great. Now, in Agorapulse specifically, we've got a Google Analytics integration. Phyllis had talked about going back into Google Analytics. She's built out some reports for her. That's great. And if you're looking at a whole level, I think that dashboard view is perfect here. Now, if you're focused on that social media service and selling, this is the report you want to focus on as well too. It's your social media report. That's all we're focused on. If we're just focused on social media, that's what I'm focused on. I don't care about your email. I don't care about anything else. I don't care about search. If you're going to pay me for that, then let's talk about that. But here, when we're looking at our social ROI reporting, real quick, we've got how many people we're sending, how much traffic is going, and we're going to start getting into conversions as well too. But 2 key points here: we have those website traffic metrics, very easy to understand. You can go and look at your landing page, which sources are sending as much traffic. We'll get into that more on the conversion side, but also important too, still important, the content side. Phyllis, like you said, we used to be able to think we could predict stuff, but there's so much content out there. One day, my audience, it just might be a good day. Things are going well in the news. There's many factors in the world that are leading to this. Their job's going well. They just got to, whatever. And those people are just feeling great. And they see your post and it says, that is exactly how that brand is in their mind psychology. I like that. Boom. I'm going to engage with it. I'm going to share it. Same person, exact same content, same situation. Just one thing is off. They're going to react a different way. This is why content guessing or, oh, this content's going to be perfect is tough. And that's why we've got to consistently try new things or try to be consistent with a topic and see how well that works as a whole. It's a big picture. It's not short-term stuff. So web traffic, content, page level metrics, but now we're getting into website metrics. Phyllis, anything to add on that web traffic? Because it goes right into conversion like we talked about.
Yeah, what I like seeing here is this GA4 integration, because I think this is like magic, honestly. And it's true. You can go over to Google Analytics and sort through all of that, but that is built for maybe online marketing analytics. Whereas if you're focusing on social media analytics, having GA for social info integrated into a way that you can understand is brilliant, and I think it's awesome. So
that's what we talked about.
Yeah,
you talked about translating this information to people. Like at the end of the day, you can go through a whole Google Analytics report, but that might be for that analytical person, and then they need to add you in, and you can go through that. But for the visual people, the people that just need, I need the cheat sheet. What does this mean to me? This is the report you want. Simple, quick, to the point. And then that leads to the web conversion as well too. And it's in the same report with your social ROI, speaking of Agorapulse specifically. But this is where we can start seeing, hey, I've got a client that sells stuff. That is an ideal situation. Great. You have a product, you have social, you send them to a website, they buy or they don't buy. That's it. This is great. We can understand how much revenue we're making, conversion event value, what sources drive. Facebook, like Phyllis brought up an example. Oh, Facebook's sending a lot of traffic, or Twitter is sending a lot of traffic, but it's not converting as well because, what we've seen is that platform just doesn't have the same kind of trust. We're seeing that in the comments we get. We're seeing that in the engagement. But Instagram's getting a lot of that good engagement, and it's a very purchasable, friendly, instant purchase platform. That's what I understand as the expert. Let's put more money into Instagram. Let's see what that does. Let's do that for a month. Let's chill on Twitter. So digging in deeper into the network, the source, the conversion rates of your landing pages, the conversion rate of your website in general. These are all key. And again, just to make things easy for you, connect your Google Analytics account. This will all be pulling in. So there's key insights you can pull from here. But again, take it at a time, understand where you're at, and move into these phases as you're ready for them. Phyllis, I think that's it for us here. Do you have anything to add on the conversion side, that kind of final piece of reporting?
Well, like I said in the beginning, most clients, after they get past that brand awareness stage and they start really wanting to track the business thing, as a social media manager, this is where the business client is trying to justify the expense of you. And again, this is a point where if you can't show to a client that you are worth the money that they're paying you, then again, this is a point of miscommunication between you and the client. So all of those pieces come into play, those original conversations, finding out their actual business goals, being able to craft a social media strategy that fits those goals and provides traffic eventually to where they want it, and being able to prove conversions and ROI so they can see, oh, they're bringing us traffic we would never get. They've made us thousands of dollars this month by the traffic they're bringing to us. Of course, she's worth it, because if she quit doing what she's doing, that income would go away. And so it's horrible that a social media manager has to prove their worth sometimes, but as a business, you can see why it's important, especially these days.
And if you want to think about it a little more simply as well too, it's like, this is just social media is not, it's not a magic button. It's not mad. It's a communication tool, and it's great because it's free for us to use. I can set up a Facebook account for free, it's free. Twitter, I could pay to verify myself. Other things, but it's a free tool, so I can do whatever I want. I can do anything that I want. It's a marketing channel, and it's a good marketing channel. So let's treat it like email. Let's treat it like this, with different properties and different qualities. And to Phyllis's point, right off the bat, in this example, hey, I'm generating $14,000 for you. Pay me more money, or hey, let's take some of that. Let's take some of that budget and let's supercharge us. Let's take some of that and invest it more into these networks here, because that's working really well. This is going to help you drive budget decisions. This is how we should talk about this: quickly, quickly, so that you can be efficiently, you can be efficiently making these business decisions.
Yes.
Quick. Hey, Instagram's not working well in the last 2 weeks. Let's take that budget and move it to Facebook. This is a great way to prove yourself, but to help prove the strategy and help drive the strategy in the needed direction it's supposed to go. So that would be my final thought. I think that's the last bit of our presentation, Phyllis.
Well, I think that was awesome, and thank you so much for the insights and the ideas that you presented today. I think that being a social media manager and an agency owner these days has some amazing things available to us to use, and it's very important for social media managers, especially solo social media managers, to be willing to change and adapt and to add new processes into what they've been doing all this time. They get hit hard because on social itself, you go from making image posts for the last 5 years, and then all of a sudden you have to be a videographer to produce posts on social. And so it's a social media manager still needs to be flexible and open to learning new things. And I think that's the thing about reports, is that if you have a client that needs more from you than you've provided in the past, that there are some things available to you. And I hope that you reach out and ask about them and try new things out.
Yeah. And Phyllis, thanks again for having us. And for everyone that's watching, thank you for listening. It's been a pleasure.
Yeah. Yes, thank you so much, Jacob. So I just want to tell everybody real quick before we go, and let's see if I can click all the things. We were continuing the conversation over in socialmediapulse.community. If you have any questions for me or for Jacob, you can put them over there. We're happy to answer them. No. And Deb and you're out. We're track you over there no matter what. Yeah. So Deb will answer them for you. So, but we also are happy to answer them on any of the socials. We're broadcasting today over on Facebook, LinkedIn, YouTube. And so we'll answer them there too. And I just want to check real quick and see if there are any questions. And we don't have them, so we're good to go. So thank you so much, Jacob, for joining me today. And see you on the socials.
Yeah. Take care, guys. Bye.
Bye.